Nazca is a civilization shown in history between 200 BCE and 600 CE. They were located on the southern coast of Peru with a population of approximately 25,000 people, and small villages that were built as terraced hillsides near irrigated floodplains. It is also important to point out that ancient Peru used to have valleys that were covered with lots of trees and forests that provided soil fertility and also moisture, but until the civilization of Nazca. The people of Nazca caused their own disappearance by destroying this environment, their home, which we explain the topic furtherly in the continuation of our video. Scholars believe that Nazca is a continuation of the Persas culture, which is famous for its contribution to the textile arts. And actually, Nazca people are also known for their complex textiles and art products, which are mostly potteries made from polychrome. It is known that when they bury a dead person, and no matter if this person is a male or female, they bury the dead one with the potteries and textiles.
Furthermore, the social system of the Nazca culture is based on hierarchy, where the farmers and fishermen are at the bottom, warriors and craftsmen are in the middle, and priests and lords are at the top. Their religion is mostly based on polytheistic beliefs. They pray and make rituals for different varieties of gods, such as the god of earth, sky, fire, water, wind, and the creator. Another important part of the Nazca culture is their famous geoglyphs, also known as Nazca lines, which have been studied for over 80 years and added to the list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, but are still a big mystery for many people. There are so many of these lines in very big sizes, and they are the representations of a variety of different plants, animals such as spiders, monkeys, birds, or trees, flowers, and cactuses. Moreover, there are other symbols such as human figures, including an astronaut figure.
This great civilization met with its end quite mysteriously. At the peak of their prosperity, the traces of Nazca culture were suddenly lost in the historical record around 600 CE. There have been many speculations about its collapse, and for many years the most prominent one was the mega climate effect called El Nino, which eventually caused floods, erosion, and created deserts. Researchers suggest that the fundamental reason behind their demise was damaging the ecosystem, which mainly contains deforestation. A team of researchers adduced evidence of cutting down the forests to expand agricultural areas by studies of guarango pollen samples. As the forests contained a special kind of tree, the unique guarango tree, the guarango stumps were also found in the region, which proves the trees had been cut down. Moreover, these samples of pollen show that guarango forests were replaced by maize and cotton lands. The native guarango tree has a very deep root system that reaches around 60 meters underground and underpins the floodplain. This tree was one of the most critical parts of the desert's fragile ecosystem, which was not only functioning to increase soil fertility and moisture, but also keeping Nazca's narrow, vulnerable irrigation channels in place. It was a source of timber, food, forage, and fuel for the use of Nazca people. Guarango leaves and their nitrogen-fixing feature helped the fertilization of the soil, and their huge branches deflected the strong wind.
At first, they started by cutting the native guarango tree and replacing the field with crops, such as maize and cotton. In the end, Nazca people cut down so many trees and reached a point where the poor ecosystem has been permanently damaged. Furthermore, the lack of forests that used to protect the delicate desert ecology triggered floods, which made the situation worse. In other words, the outcome of the El Nino would have been to a lesser extent if they hadn't cleared the guarango trees and left the area vulnerable.
Deforestation is the permanent removal of trees to make room for something other than a forest. This may include clearing the land for agriculture or grazing, or using the wood for fuel, construction, or manufacturing. Forests cover more than 30% of the Earth's land surface, according to the World Wildlife Fund. These forested areas can provide food, medicine, and fuel for more than 1 billion people. But this doesn't protect forests from getting destroyed for various purposes. Farming, ranching, mining, and drilling together account for more than half of all deforestation. Forestry practices, forest fires, and to a small extent urbanization are responsible for the rest. Since ancient times, the mass destruction of trees, deforestation, continues, sacrificing the long-term benefits of standing trees for short-term gain. Although it may not seem like a major problem now, deforestation brought end to many civilizations in the past, along with famines and contagious diseases, of course. For example, the ancient Nazca civilization of Peru partly triggered its own downfall by chopping down forests and creating a desert. According to researchers, a study published today suggests that the collapse was caused by deforestation of the huarango trees that had maintained the ecological balance in this corner of South America.
The Nazca wanted land for maize and other crops, not realizing that the forests were crucial to soil fertility and moisture. According to the report led by the University of Cambridge, over time the gradual clearing of the forests crossed an ecological threshold that is sharply defining such a desert environment, exposing the landscape to the region's exceptional desert winds and the effects of El Niño flooding, said David Beresford-Jones of the University Cambridge's MacDonald Institute for Archaeological Research. With the El Niño strike, the Nazca's irrigation network became useless, agricultural lands were damaged, and in time led to drought, the disappearance of crops and infertility. This is in line with the vanishing of crops in the Ica Valley, the rising infant mortality, and the fallen adult life expectancy rates of the next generations.
According to NASA, scientists think that Earth's temperature will keep going up for the next 100 years. This would cause more snow and ice to melt. Oceans would rise higher, some places would get hotter, and some places might have stronger hurricanes. Burning fossil fuels, in combination with the destruction of carbon sinks due to deforestation and other activities, has contributed to the generation of more and more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which is more than the absorption of carbon dioxide in the existing carbon sinks such as forests. The buildup of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is driving global warming as it traps heat in the lower atmosphere. Carbon dioxide levels are now at the highest in human history. Unfortunately, deforestation has a massive contribution to the global change by cutting down the sources of oxygen, making carbon dioxide levels increase.